Name? Wolf. Did you see it? I did. One sentence summary. Like Dog Soldiers, but with Romans. And terrible. Could you beat the villain? Maybe. One of the many problems in this film is that the villains or the kind of threat isn't properly established. We know there's something in the woods, and they may or may not be wolf people, which is a conclusion that the Roman soldiers jumped to remarkably quickly. But we don't learn anything about the wolf people. We don't even really see any of them. But I like my chances either way. Some mysterious force. If you whack him in the face with a scutum, which I believe is a Roman shield, and then stab him with a dagger, silver or not, you know, most things will die. So there you go. How would you improve this film? I don't say this lightly, but there are no redeeming features of this film whatsoever. It was just awful from start to finish. And I know it's hard to create things, and, you know, I respect the creative process, but this was just not very good. It's low budget, and I knew that going in, so I wasn't expecting the kind of Citizen Kane of werewolf films. So the opening text says something along the lines of history is what they want you to remember, legend is what they exaggerated, and myth is what they want you to forget. There is truth in all things. I haven't got the wording exactly right, but it makes about as much sense as the thing in the actual film. The first scene, completely unrelated to the rest of the film, doesn't need to be there, is a boy playing fetch with his dog. Nice. But the dog is like a spaniel, like a cocker spaniel, or an English spaniel, or a Welsh spaniel, or something. It's a gun dog. And like this film is set in 150 AD, so it's Romans and blah 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 blah. I don't think that dog existed at that point, but there you go. But like someone would talk, and you could hear the background noise of where they were recorded, and then they would stop talking, no background noise at all, and it wouldn't just be like subtle, it would be there's a babbling brook, blah 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 blah, stop talking, no babbling brook. Anyway, oh, and a lot of times that someone would say something and they wouldn't even be in shot, and I don't know if that's a problem with the sound, they couldn't get it to match up with the moving lips, or if it was a problem with the camera, because a lot of this film was filmed in like close-up, so like I am now, but maybe even a bit closer, but like 3/4 of the film was filmed like this. Did they? The weather. So one of the characters, a bloke who likes wine, I can't tell if he was supposed to be the main character or not. Anyway, he was like, oh, if we upset the gods, it'll snow. And then the film goes from no snow, thick snow, no snow again. And I wasn't really sure if it was supposed to be that there was a blizzard and like the snow melted really quickly, or if they walked through, you know, blah blah blah, walking along, we get to a bit where there's been some snow, lots and lots of snow, a couple of miles later, no snow whatsoever, so just one band of really really cold. It didn't make any sense, it was stupid. Most likely reason, two completely different locations they used, didn't think anyone would notice. I get the feeling that this film was butchered in the editing process, because there's a lot of stuff that happened, but there was like seemingly no reason for it, and I can't imagine that's how the script intended it. So there's a bit where they go from not really trusting they had a German or Germanic guide, bearing in mind they're in Caledonia, Scotland, but they had a German lady guiding them, and they go from not trusting her to trusting her to not trusting her again. There's a bit where the guy who likes wine is like, the Picts wouldn't do this, and she's like, yeah, I agree, and he's like, you know an awful lot about Picts. Doesn't make any sense. There's a bit where one of the Roman soldiers is like a black lady who had some blue or purple or something like that in her hair. I don't know. But she's like, I swear, I will carve your name into the chest of whoever killed you. She's talking to her dead friend. That goes nowhere. She doesn't even encounter the whatever killed her friend. Stupid. And then there's a flashback to show them in the orb formation, which you don't need a flashback to explain because they've already been in the orb formation when he started the conversation, and it doesn't give you any new information. The German guide lady showed some side boob when she was washing in the stream, surrounded by snow, and you can tell that she's got all scars on her back, and she doesn't want to explain where they came from. She's never seen eating in the film when the other characters are, and she actually declines to eat when the others are. Do you want some food? She's like, nah. And then there's an old blind man that is just terribly acted, besides the point, that he says the werewolf curse came from the Black Forest, Germany, kind of European, roughly where the Germanic guide lady came from, who's been mysterious. So yeah, and it's all. She teams up with a Pict lady who says that only men turn into werewolves, women don't. So it's all kind of building up towards the German guide lady being somewhat involved in the curse of the werewolf. Doesn't go anywhere. Nothing happens. Film just ends abruptly. There's a lot of kind of bits in this film where someone will say something, there'll be a pause for like 3 to 5 seconds, then someone will reply, and that kept happening, and that's not how conversations work. Anyway, there's also a lot of like fast forward in this film, and I know I do it for comedic effect and to skip over when I've been talking about the same thing for like 10 minutes, but this film did it when people were walking, so that it looked like they were in Benny Hill. It looked like they were doing some sword fighting in fast forward as well. That was stupid. But they didn't need to like save time by fast forwarding if they just cut out all the many establishing shots of the forest, or a reaction shot of someone who's not even involved in the conversation, or so like, how is the thing blurring past them when it's got to be like 20 foot away? It doesn't make any sense. Anyway. He was obviously going to die, and him being the best doesn't add anything to it, because I don't know who he is apart from... He looks like he's a Christian who's been chewed up by lions in the Colosseum. No, it doesn't. He looks like he's got a little bit of fake blood on his face. He sniffed him, and then he starts talking about his hearing. It didn't make any sense. The guy who likes wine and the balding army dude who, you know, had a flashback that went nowhere, they're infected, and then they start vomiting everywhere, and then everyone's all like, oh no, the bloody werewolves are coming, we gotta go, and those two stay behind, and they have a fight for a bit that doesn't make any sense. Then they team up to fight off the werewolves in the middle of that field and still somehow get got. And then, you know, they both seem to die. Thank God, I was sick of them. The 3 remaining Romans, they stand in front of a river, so they haven't got to defend themselves from the back. They bang on their shields to attract the werewolves, and they're going to have a big epic showdown before it gets dark and the werewolves get too powerful. And then 3 werewolves turn up. All 3 of them were Roman soldiers we've seen earlier in the film who have already been turned, including the one, like the big balding dude, who just died like 2 minutes ago. So we don't see, in the big epic conclusion, any of the original werewolves, and this is just like the people have got a bit of makeup on and some fake teeth. They're not all hairy or anything along those lines. Anyway, the German guide lady comes with the Pict lady she's teamed up with for some reason. The German guide lady dies. The leader of the Romans, he also is dying. She's all like, oh man, I'm gonna kill your boss so you don't turn into a werewolf. And he's all like, oh cool, get back to Hadrian's Wall and warn the bloody Romans that there are some werewolves or whatever it is around here. And then the Pict lady, she's all like, yeah, I'll guide them to the wall. And then that's the end of the film. Like, that's the big epic conclusion. 3 werewolves who we've already met as actors before in the film, so they didn't have to pay anyone else. And then a random character we've just met. It's like, oh yeah, this German guide who you're hanging out with for the whole film. Forget her. I'll help you to the end of film. Anyway, rating out of 5 beers. 5. And I think worse than Godzilla, which up until this point was the worst film I'd seen this year. And it haunts me because I know this film's going to be locked in my brain forever now. I've decided I'm going to rewrite it, much like X-Men Dark Phoenix, because there was so much good potential, but they flushed it down the toilet. Anyway, I'm really angry about this. Bye.